Hello, namaste. Welcome to this class. We're doing a class today which is like a low flow, so we're sort of staying low to the floor. We're not really coming up to standing. We're building strength, and in this class we focus a lot on the core, strengthening in the core, but we do it in a gentle way and protecting the lower back. So this is really a class that's great if you have lower back sensitivity or an injury or any issues, problems. Before I start, because yeah, throughout the class I want you to remember this. What we're trying to do is brace and space, and meaning that you want to keep length in this part. So instead of sort of collapsing down to your sitting bones, you're lifting out of your sitting bones, and you want this space from the hip bone sort of to your lowest ribs to stay nice and open, lengthen here. And besides the lengthening, and when many times when we say engage the core, we think of also pulling everything towards the midline, which is for some works really great. But if you have lower back issues, you must also understand that you're sort of really compressing there. And of course, that compression also brings a stability, but that's why we call it bracing and spacing. We want to create space, but also brace. And building a corset around that lower torso, but without sort of just pulling in and up with the navel. We want to create also like a nice stability where there's also space for the spine or the lower back. So as you can actually do it with your hands, with your pinky finger, put that on your hip, and then with your thumb, you put that on your lowest ribs, and you want to sort of keep that space there so that's nice and open. And then you have those three fingers left, which you can place on the soft part in between the bones. And then you start to press out into those three fingers. So instead of pulling everything into the midline, we're actually pressing out into the abdominal wall. And that also is really engaging. You can feel engagement. I also find to feel engagement is you can cough a little bit, and then you'll notice like that sort of that pushing into the fingers. So try that, and throughout the practice, try to keep that bracing and spacing. I do mention it, of course, a few times, and I explain it also again later. But yeah, really try to keep that. And the practices that we're doing towards the end for the core, they are really specific for yeah, people that have those lower back problems. It's a safe way to strengthen. And one more thing that I'd like to say is when we're in a plank, what we're doing a low plank. Now, we want to try to keep the spine as neutral as possible. So you're bracing and spacing here, and also bringing a little bit that curve into the lower back. That natural curve. So not exaggerating, but there's a difference in like sort of rounding. Here I'm more like flexing my lower back, bringing flexion into it, while here I am more keeping that natural curve. So that is also important, especially when you have these lower back issues or sensitivity. When we're putting load on the spine and on the lower back, you want to try to keep it as much as you can in a neutral position. Because that is the safest, basically. Okay, then you can make your way onto your mat, and if you're practicing with music, then you can get your playlist ready. I have a playlist for this on Spotify, but you can see that in the post that goes with this class. So get your device is ready if you're using it. And then we'll press play at the same time. So I go 1, 2, 3, play, and then we start. So 1, 2, 3, play. Okay. And then make your way to your mat and come and sit in an easy cross-legged seat. You can always sit on a block or a book if you need to, or a little blanket. And then closing your eyes and take a moment to bring your awareness inside your body and to arrive on the mat for your practice this morning. So taking a moment to become present inside your body, closing your eyes if you haven't done so already, really sort of shutting out or shutting off the outer world and coming into you, your body. Take a moment here to notice your seat. Feel the earth beneath you. Feel the weight of your pelvis, your sitting bones down on the floor or on your prop. And then feeling the alignment of your posture. Can you keep a nice, long spine, open chest, shoulders back and down? So we really want to lift ourselves out of our sitting bones instead of sort of collapsing down and rounding in the lower back. So you really need some engagement here. You need engagement and the muscles around the spine, a little bit engagement in the abdominals to keep a nice, steady, and solid posture here. You let the hips be heavy and the knees relax down to the ground as much as you can. So you're also really relaxing in the hips. And I'll talk more a little bit about it later, but maybe you remember the bracing and the spacing, creating some space sort of from the hip bones at the front of the torso and the lowest ribs. At the same time as you're creating space, you're also pressing into the abdominal wall, pressing a little bit out to the side. Notice the effect that has on your lower back and the sensations there. Try to maintain that stability there. Then bringing your awareness more up. Let the shoulders be relaxed, back and down, open chest, crown of the head up towards the sky. Maybe you tuck your chin in slightly so that the ears are over the shoulders. Becoming aware of the space above you and around you. And then drawing your full awareness to the breath. And just observe it as it is right now. No need to change the breath just yet, but just watching the quality of the breath. Is it deep? Is it shallow? Long or short breaths? Where do you feel it within the body? Do you notice any restrictions or any areas in the body where it seems hard to breathe through? And then if you notice the breath is fairly shallow, meaning that you probably feel the breath mainly in the chest area, then start to deepen your breathing, but also sending that breath into all directions of the rib cage. So deep, nice, long breaths in and out through the nose, breathing towards the front of the rib cage, but also the sides and the back, as if you want to press your shoulder blades more towards the back with the breath. Sending the breath down towards the organs in your lower belly. So nice, full three-dimensional breaths, but finding a steady rhythm that suits your body. Maybe you breathe a few times really deeply, but then after that you find a nice rhythm that you can keep throughout your practice. And make that breath your guide through this moving meditation. Now, this physical practice can also be a practice for the mind and the brain, relaxing it, letting it become quiet. And anytime the mind starts to talk to you, wants to take you away to another place in time or another location, then you just draw your attention back to the breath. Let's take one more deep breath in and out here. And then on your next breath in, as you keep your eyes closed, circle the arms out to the side. Then the hand palms meet above the head. And on your exhale, the thumbs come down towards the heart. You can press your thumbs against the breastbone and pressing that heart space a bit up against the thumbs. And then if you'd like, you can take a moment here to set an intention for your practice or a dedication. And then bringing the thumbs up to the third eye, Ajna chakra, which lies just in the middle of the forehead. Sealing your intention here. And then the hands back to the heart. And then blinking your eyes open, keeping your gaze soft. And then on the next in-breath, circle the arms out to the side. And on your exhale, hands come down to the heart. A deep, long, full breaths. Inhale, circle the arms out to the side, really feeling the space in between the ribs. And exhale, hands down to the heart. Inhale, circle the arms up. Exhaling down. And then we're circling up. We stay here. And then let's take a twist to the right side. I'm mirroring you. So as you're twisting, you can bring your left hand on the outer right knee, right hand behind you. Stay long in the spine. Breathe here. Let's take one more deep breath in. Maybe you lengthen a little bit more the crown of the head towards the sky. And on your exhale, twisting just that little bit deeper. And remembering twisting happens from the navel upwards. So focus on that area. And then on the next breath in, come back up to the middle, arms come up. And then on your exhale, we twist to the other direction, to the left. Nice long spine. You can have your left hand behind you, pressing into the floor a little bit to keep that nice long spine. And the hand that's resting against the knee can be a little bit a push or a pull, where you can use that force of the power in the arms to bring you a little bit deeper into the twist. Again, twisting from the thoracic spine, and maybe looking over your shoulder if that feels okay for your neck. And on the next in-breath, maybe lengthen a little bit more. And exhaling, twisting a little bit deeper. And then as you inhale, the arms come up. And as you exhale, hands next to the body. And then making your way into a tabletop position. Now, if your knees are sensitive here, you can always use something under the knees, a little blanket or a cushion. So shoulders are right above the wrists and the hips, above the knees. Turn your biceps forward so you open nicely in the chest area. And then again, thinking of not sort of letting that belly hang down, but you're engaging the abdominal muscles here. So always that slight contraction, even as you're moving through cat-cow or any other movement here, you want to keep that contraction a little bit so we don't hang out too much in the lower back. As you inhale, and we start with our cat-cow flow, you can lift your chest up, tailbone up, and then the belly drops down a little bit towards the mat, but keep that engagement. As you exhale, you can start to round the spine, pressing the knees, the hands into the floor. And the more you press down, the more you can round your back. Really moving on your breath. Every time you inhale, you open the chest, opening the body here. Remember that engagement in the core, and exhaling, rounding. Maybe just take a few of these regular cat-cows, a few breaths, 3 or 4. And then after, just take any movement that feels nice. Stay connected to the breath. So if you like, you can continue cat-cow flow, or maybe taking other kinds of movements here. You can circle the hips. You could also circle just the rib cage, so you're more isolating specific parts of the torso. You can come into what is a little bit more of a child's pose, or forward to like an upward sort of kind of dog. Anything that feels nice. So you don't really want to think about what you're doing or what you should be doing, but you want to feel here. Taking one more deep breath in and out. And making your way back to neutral. And then bring your knees a little bit more towards the back. And the hands a little bit more towards the front. So this is sort of I would say, a wide-legged tabletop. We're going to do something that is called spinal flossing. We have, of course, the spinal cord running in the vertebrae all the way down the spine, and then the nerve roots, they come out on each side of the spine. So we're going to take a movement here that sort of massages the spinal cord and the nerves. So this can be really nice for people with which that have like sensitivities with nerves, or also for the lower back. I think this can be nourishing, but you should really sort of see how this feels for you. But what we do here is a little bit counter intuitive, because we're coming forward almost into like an upward dog, but you're letting your head hang down. So this is sort of pulling the spinal cord up, so to say, towards the crown of the head. As you're exhaling, you're bringing your buttocks now more towards your heels. And now you start to look up. And now the spinal cord has been pulled down towards the buttocks. As you inhale, again, you come forward in that sort of upward dog position, but you let your head hang. Arms are straight. Exhale, buttocks towards the heels, and you look up. On your own breath, moving slowly back and forth as you're coming forward, inhaling, let the head hang. Exhaling, buttocks towards the heels, and you look up. Stay with this movement, coming forward on the inhale, let the head hang down. Exhale, buttocks towards the heels, looking up. Few more rounds, moving slowly on your breath. Every time you come forward, let the head hang. Every time you go back with the buttocks, the head comes up. So the nerve roots get a nice massage. The spinal cord is being pulled back and forth within the spinal column. And that can be really nourishing and massaging. Of course, if at any point this doesn't feel right for you, then you can just take any other movement like a cat-cow flow. So you always want to be mindful and feeling what happens within the body. Let's take one more full breath cycle. And as you're coming back with your buttocks towards your heels, bring the knees wider and take a child's pose for a moment. And just feel here. Few breaths. And then know that you can always take the child's pose, of course, if you need a break throughout the practice. I'm going to practice a kind of a low flow here. So we won't really come to standing all the way up, but we're staying sort of low to the floor. Next breath in, coming back into a tabletop position. You might want to have your blocks close by if you have tight hamstrings. And then we'll do a little bit warm up of the wrist. So pressing down the hands here, fingers firmly into the mat. And then as you inhale, lifting up the wrists. And exhale, you lower them down. Inhale, wrists up. And exhale down. So the more you lean over the hands with the shoulders, the heavier, the more intense this is for the wrists. When you lean away, it's lighter on the wrists. There's less weight over the hands. Let's do one more round. Inhaling, lifting up. Exhale down. And then right hand with the fingers towards you and the wrist away from you. And then you can do your left hand as well, or you do one hand at a time. Breathe here. And maybe you bring your buttocks a little bit towards the back, increasing the stretch if that feels okay. You can also stay in neutral. Change the other hand if you have only one hand at a time. And then coming back with the fingers forward. Again, pressing your fingers into the mat firmly. And then inhaling again, lifting the wrist up. And exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Few more rounds. One more. And then this time the left hand with the fingers towards you. And then maybe the right hand or one hand at a time. One more time, we stretch here. Maybe you lean towards the back. And then back into a regular position with the hands. Taking a deep breath in and out. And then tucking your toes under, inhaling deeply. And then on your exhale, press into your down dog. So taking a moment to find the correct position for your body, for your hands and feet. And you can play around. How wide do you want your feet to be? How wide do you want your hands to be? Are the fingers facing forward, or maybe you rotate a little bit out with the fingers? Let's see what works for you. And then feeling in the body, where do you feel restriction or where do you feel the body is tight? And then you can start to take any movement here that feels nice. So maybe you start to walk your dog where you alternating the heels up and down. You create some space on the back of the legs. You can also bend both knees and really press into your hands, lifting the hips up. You can also pivot the heels to one side, let the hips follow, making it more of a side stretch. Maybe you want to lift the legs up and you open the hip, bend the knee. Making sure you do both legs. If you're taking this movement, always making sure that you press firmly into your hands, to your fingers, so you release the pressure of the wrists. And then finding stillness again in your down dog. Take a nice deep breath in and out. And then walk your feet in just a little bit closer. And then now with your left hand, see if you can take a hold either of your right calf or the right ankle or maybe the right heel. And as you're holding on to that, then start to open and twist the body open towards the right side. You can look under your arm. Deep breaths in and out. Keep pressing firmly with the right hand in the floor. And then on your next exhale, hand comes back down. Take a deep breath in and out. And then we'll do the other side. So right hand towards left leg, maybe the calf, the ankle, the heel. And then you twist open towards the left side. Stay with the breath. And then next exhale, the hand comes back down to the floor. And then you bring your feet again a little bit more towards the back. Deep breath in and out. And then inhale, come into your plank pose here. You can always use your knees on the floor if you need to. If you're using your knees on the floor, make sure to keep that nice, long spine here. And remember bracing and spacing. So we're creating this space in between the lower of the hip bones and the lowest ribs. So really notice, remember that space, and like you're pressing out into the abdominal wall. So breathing here either on your knees or on your toes in your plank pose, and round your upper back. So the upper back is slightly rounded, pressing the back of the heart up towards the sky. Stay with the breath. Strong arms, strong shoulders. And remember, don't let the head hang down. So you're looking a little bit forward here. And then let's do one more deep breath in. And then for our first round of Chaturanga, knees to the floor. And let's come down for 5 counts. So really slowly, you're lowering yourself down Chaturanga. Bending into the elbows. Elbows come towards the back. For 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. And then the arms come alongside the body. And now preparing for Locust, you're going to really engage again in the core, like bracing and spacing here, pressing into the sides of the torso almost, the lower torso, like you're pressing out. And then on your next breath in, lift the arms, lift the feet, and breathe. So the arms are away from the floor as if you're reaching to someone standing in the back or behind you. Breathe. Maybe you can do one more deep breath cycle. Maybe you lift a little bit more up with the arms, with the torso, with the feet, the legs. And then as you exhale slowly, hands next to the chest, nose to the floor. And just breathe here for a moment. And then on your next breath in, press the fronts of the feet into the mat, kneecaps lift off, and peel off your chest for cobra. So again, really engaging in your core here. Yeah, also some slight contraction in the buttocks. So this kinetic chain, the back side of the body, helps to sort of divide the work, where we just engage everything instead of only one part of the body. Deep breath in. And then on your exhale, back into your down dog. And use your down dog to stretch out the back if you need to, or to take any more dynamic movement here that you like. Walking the dog or pivoting the heels. Deep breath in and out. Next breath in, right leg comes up. And then on your exhale, bring the knee into the chest and the shoulders come forward. Inhaling, lift the leg up again. On your exhale, cross the knee under the body towards the left arm. Inhale the leg up. Exhale, the knee comes high up onto the right arm. Inhale the leg up. And then on your exhale, knee into your chest, shoulders come forward, and then step your foot in between your hands. Lower the back knee down, and then inhale, arms come up for Anjaneyasana, low lunge. Deep breath in and out. And again, think about that bracing and spacing. So really creating that space here and pressing sort of into the outer lower torso. Deep breath in. And on the exhale, the hands come down to the floor. And then step back into your plank. Inhale here. And then on your exhale, lowering down Chaturanga. You can choose now knees on the floor or legs straight. Again, you don't have to go 5 counts, but try to move slow. We're building strength here. And tuck the toes, press the feet into the mat. Inhaling, coming up for Cobra. And on your exhale, downward facing dog. Deep breath in and out. Next breath in. Coming forward, high push-up plank. And then as you exhale, back into your down dog. And now you can just move back and forth 5 times on your own breath. And it can be nice to maybe roll through the spine as you come forward and move back. Or maybe you want to keep more of a straight back and legs as you're coming back and forth. Just see what feels nice. And after your 5th round, we meet back in downward dog. Deep breath in and out. Inhale forward, high push-up plank. And on your exhalation, slowly moving down to the floor, Chaturanga, bending elbows towards the back, keeping them close into the body. And this slow movement really builds strength and grace. Untuck your toes. And then interlace your fingers behind your back. Now again, start to engage in the core, bracing and spacing here. And then you can already start to sort of pull your hands towards the back of the mat. Maybe you notice that you're starting to lift up already a little bit with the shoulders, the chest. And then on your next breath in, as you engage more in the core even, start to lift up the legs and then lift up the chest, arms away from the back, lifting the hands away from the buttocks and then pulling towards the back with the hands. Strong legs here also. Breathe. Let's stay for 3, 2, maybe last round a little bit more high up. And then slowly coming down, hands can be next to your chest. Take a nice deep breath in and out. And then on your next breath in, come either into Cobra, just peeling off your chest, pressing your fronts of the feet into the mat, or maybe you take Upward Facing Dog, straight arms. If you're taking Upward Facing Dog, the legs are super strong, knees and pelvis off the floor. Breathing here. Let's take one more deep breath in. And then as you exhale, Downward Facing Dog. Breathing deeply and slowly. Next breath in, left leg comes up. And on your exhale, shoulders come forward, knee in towards your chest. Inhale, reach the leg up. Exhale, cross the knee under the body towards the right arm. Inhaling the leg up. And exhale, knee high up onto the left arm. Inhale the leg up. And on your exhale, knee into the chest, shoulders come forward and step the foot in between your hands. Back knee down to the floor. And remember, you can always prop your back knee if you need to. And then inhaling, coming up, low lunge, asana. And here maybe you can press your hips a bit more forward, opening into your heart space. But remember, don't collapse down into that lower back. Lift yourself out of your sitting bones here. Deep breath in. And on your exhale, hands down to the floor. Stepping back, plank pose. And you can always come back into your down dog straight away if you need to. Or you join me to lower down slowly for a Vinyasa. As you inhale, you come into Cobra Upward Dog. And on your exhale, Downward Facing Dog. Take a nice, full, deep breath in and out. And then inhaling the right leg up. On your exhale, bring the knee into the chest, shoulders come forward. Now take that extra in-breath here, really pulling the knee into the chest as much as possible. And then on your exhale, step the foot in between your hands. Now hands are next to your foot, on either side of your foot, and you can have blocks here if you need to. If your hamstrings are tight, this can be nice to lengthen a little bit the arms. You're inhaling, coming forward with your chest, bending into that front knee a lot. And then as you exhale, straighten the front leg. coming into pyramid pose, variation of Parsvottanasana. As you inhale again, coming forward, bending into that front knee, lengthening, exhale, straighten. Inhale, coming forward, and exhale, straighten. Inhale forward. Exhale, straighten, and then stay here. Breathe and try to relax the torso over that front leg. Can you create some more length in your spine? Your next breath in, bending into that front knee, and then placing your hands on the inside of the foot, and then heel toe the foot out to the side of your mat. And then you can stay here. You can keep the back knee lifted. That's more intense. If you want to relax the back knee down, that's also fine. I suggest maybe you use something under the knee to prop there. Or if you want, you can come down onto your forearms if your body allows that. Or maybe you come on blocks or books. So you're in the middle. So see what works for you. Breathe. Nice stretch for the quadriceps and the left leg, the hip flexor. It's called lizard pose. Next breath in, coming back onto your hands. And then bringing the feet back into the middle, or the foot back into the middle, pressing into your left hand. And then as you inhale, twist, open with the right arm up. Don't forget about your back leg, really engaging there. Unless you have the knee on the floor, of course. Deep breath in. And on your exhale, the hand comes down. And then either stepping back straight away into your down dog and stay there, or maybe you come into your plank, and then we lower down, Chaturanga, taking a Vinyasa, moving slowly, inhaling for Cobra, upward facing dog, and exhaling into downward facing dog. Deep breaths in and out. And on your next breath in, the left leg comes up. And on your exhale, knee into your chest, shoulders forward. Hold here. Inhale, pull the knee more into the chest. And on your exhale, step the foot in between your hands. Keeping the hands on either side of that foot. You can use blocks here. We'll take pyramid flow. Inhaling, opening the chest towards the front of the mat. Lengthening in the spine. Exhale, straightening into that front leg. Inhaling, coming forward. Exhale, straighten. Inhale forward. Exhale, straighten. Inhale forward one more time. And then exhale, straighten and stay there. And try to relax the torso over that straight leg. Deep breaths in and out. And then on your next breath in, bending into that front knee. And then walking the foot to the left side, and the left hand comes on the inside of the foot. Lizard pose. Remember, various options here. So you can keep the back leg lifted, or you bring the knee to the floor. Or maybe you bring your arms down onto blocks or down to the forearms on the floor, or maybe you stay on your hands. Breathing deeply. Let's take one more breath cycle. And after that breath cycle, coming back onto your hands, walking that foot back to the middle. And then you stay onto your right hand, either knee down to the floor or lifted, and then inhaling, left arm up to the sky, twist open with the torso. And deep breath in and out. Inhale here. And on your exhale, the hand comes down. And then stepping back, either down dog or your plank pose. Deep breath in. And as you exhale, slowly lowering yourself down, Chaturanga. If you're taking a Vinyasa, inhaling for Cobra, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Breathe here in your down dog. Few deep breaths in and out. And then coming forward to a high push-up plank. And then bring your knees down to the floor for a moment. Come and sit on your heels. If you want to take a little toe stretch, you can have your toes tucked under. So we're going to do a little bit of work for the core, which is actually really good and stabilizing for the lower back. So again, remember the bracing and the spacing. So we have the space that's in between the hip and the lowest ribs. We want to sort of keep that space there, and at the same time you're pressing sort of out into these outer edges of your torso. So instead of, when we think about engaging the core, many times we just think about navel in and up, but we really want to sort of press out as well, because especially if your lower back is sensitive or you have issues with your lower back, that actually helps to create some more space around it. You're building a core set, but not squooshing and compressing, but like actually giving space. We're gonna go for an exercise, two exercises. We'll do a plank, but we'll do plank on the forearms, and I'll just quickly show you for a moment. So we're gonna take a plank, a low plank on the forearms. And then we're gonna go over twisting to a side plank, but we don't want to sort of twist like this. If you can see the difference, my shoulders sort of stay down and I'm twisting already from my hips. And that means that I bring like a twist in that lower back in the spine, which is, we don't want to bring any load there. So you're bracing and spacing, and then you're gonna open the body in one piece. So this is not twisting, but is staying in one line. I have my feet, as you can see, in front of each other. So they're not stacked, giving stability. Then coming back in one piece, and then opening to the other side. Yeah, so preparing for that, come onto your forearms. Come into your plank. Think about that bracing and spacing. Breathe, shoulders away from the ears. Let's do 3 breaths in this regular plank. So 2 and 1. And then you're gonna twist open onto your left forearm. So you're twisting open towards the right. And think about keeping that whole torso as one piece. Feet in front of each other. 3, 2, 1. And then you're coming back to the middle. Try to remember trying to move that whole torso in one go. And you can always rest on down onto your knees if you need to. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. And then we go to the other side. You can look up at your hand if you want, or just look straight ahead. Remember the bracing and the spacing. Back to the middle. We'll do one more full round. Breathe. 3, 2, 1. Opening the chest towards the right side. 3, 2, 1. Back to the middle. 3, 2, 1. Coming onto the right forearm. 3, 2, 1. And then back to the middle. Take one more deep breath in and out. And the knees can come down to the floor. Maybe you feel like coming into a child's pose for a moment. Especially if your shoulders feel tired here. Bring the arms towards the back. Knees are a little bit closer here. Torso resting over the thighs. And as you have your hands wrapped around, or the hands towards the back, so that the arms are sort of wrapping around the legs, you can really relax the shoulders down. So for building strength in the core, this is really a great way, because this really protects the lower back. You can build it up. You can start with a few rounds only, and then build up. Take a few more breaths in your child's pose. And then when you're ready, making your way to come lie onto your back. And as you come to lie on your back, make sure that you can see me for a moment maybe. So what we're going to do is we're going to have one knee bend, the foot is on the floor, the other leg extends. Now this is really great for in building strength in the core, but not aggravating any lower back pain. So what I am doing, I'm bringing my hands under my lumbar spine. So where you have your natural curve in the spine, that's where I bring my hands. So my elbows are bent. I'm really leaning with my hands with my lumbar spine on my hands here. And then the only thing I'm going to do is lift my leg up a little bit from the floor and a slightly lift of the head and the neck. And then if you want to make it more intense, you can also lift your elbows off the floor. You breathe here. Now, if this becomes really intense for your neck, you can start to press your tongue against your upper palate, because that starts to engage the front of the neck, the muscles there. Say that you hold for maybe 10 counts or 5 counts, and then you come back down. You relax the elbows down to the floor. Now, this can be fairly intense for the neck in the beginning if you're not really used to doing these things, but on the other hand, it's also good to strengthen the neck here. So you don't want to overdo it, but building strength in the neck like this is also good. Now switch legs. So the other foot comes on the floor. The knee is bent. Now remember the bracing and the spacing. I should have said that on the first round, but you're really pressing, you're keeping that length, but also pressing out into the those corners of the torso, those outer edges, and then lifting up the elbows, lifting up that leg slightly from the floor, and then just pick up the head. Maybe the shoulders come off a little bit. It's a small movement. Breathe for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. You can really lift the elbows up. 3, 2, and 1. Releasing down. Breathe. We swap sides again. So other leg on the other foot on the floor, knee bent. And then on your next breath in, remember bracing and spacing, and then lifting up the leg slightly from the floor and just the head a little bit. Maybe the shoulders a little bit. You can look at your toe. Breathe. Stay for another 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming down. Breathe. And then we'll swap one more time, other side. Pressing that foot in the floor, with the knee bent. And then next breath in, lifting up the straight legs slightly off the floor, lifting up the elbows if you want. You can also keep them down, lifting up the head. Breathe. If the neck feels tense here, if it's really hard for the neck, press the tongue into the upper palate. Another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And releasing. And then you can release your hands. Release the legs out, straight. Breathe. And then bringing your knees into your chest, and maybe you want to rock a little bit from side to side if that feels nice. Let's take a twist here. So try to keep both your shoulders on the floor. Maybe you have your arms out into a T or into a cactus shape. And then you can choose either to keep the knees together in a 90-degree angle, or maybe you prefer to have one leg straight and the bent knee, you cross it over to the other side. Or maybe you want to wrap your legs around each other. So if you're twisting to the right, you're bringing your left leg over the right leg. And then you can drop them down to the right side if you're wrapping your leg. So it's always the top knee or the top leg that wraps around the lower leg when you're taking a twist in the legs as well. They call this pose twisted roots in Yin Yoga. You can look into the opposite direction of the knees, bringing the twist in the cervical spine if that feels nice. And then breathing deeply down towards the lower belly. Really massaging your internal organs here. And then on your next breath in, knees come back to the middle, unwrapping your legs. Maybe just take a breath in the middle here. You can also have your feet wide and knees fall into each other into a tippy tent. One deep breath in and out. And then we'll take the opposite direction. So whichever twist you were taking, take the same variation of a twist to the other side. If you're twisting your legs or twisted roots, now we're twisting to the left side. So the right leg comes over the left leg. And then you shift your hips always first a little bit towards the right, as then you can drop the knees down to the left. Deep breaths in and out. And remember, if it's hard for the knees to come down to the floor and it's sort of pulling your shoulder up, you can always place a block under the knees, and that can help you relax more the shoulders down in your twist. And breathing deeply down towards the lower belly. One more full breath cycle. And after that breath cycle, slowly bringing the knees back up, unwrapping the legs. And then one breath here in the middle to reset. And then it's up to you whether you want to hug your knees for another sort of 5 breaths here, or maybe you take Happy Baby, which I always like to take the ending of the class. So knees down towards the armpits, arms on the inside of the legs, and you take the outside of the feet. You can also hold onto your ankles. Take about 5 breaths wherever you are. And after that 5th breath cycle, you bring yourself into Shavasana, our final relaxation posture. And as you're coming down into Shavasana, and make sure to really make yourself comfortable. So if your lower back is sensitive, place something under the knees, a bolster or blocks or a rolled up blanket. If you want to bring something under the head, of course, you can also do that, a little cushion. And if you have something to put over you, a little blanket or a towel, it can really help the relaxation because it sends the signal to the brain, to the body, that it's time to relax. Closing your eyes, you have your legs slightly separated, letting the feet fall out to the side. The arms are next to the body and the hands are open towards the sky so that you have nice open shoulders. And then letting go of any engagement. Letting go of any engagement in the breath. We stop controlling the breathing. And then letting go of any control over the mind. So really letting the mind be free. If it wants to wander, let it wander. And then you're slowly letting yourself sink down into that beautiful, quiet place within yourself. Slowly, slowly start to deepen your breathing again. Slowly coming back into your body. Taking a moment to feel the floor beneath you. Noticing that connection between the whole backside of the body and the floor. Noticing how nice it feels to completely surrender down to the floor. And then gently start to wake up your body by wiggling your fingers and your toes. And maybe you want to take some bigger movements, taking circles with the ankles or the wrists. Maybe you hug your knees into your chest, or maybe you take a nice morning stretch, stretching the arms overhead. You can even interlace your fingers and bring your hand palms away from your head and then reach, make yourself really long. And then when you're ready, rolling onto your favorite side, either left or right. Keep your eyes closed just a little bit longer. Take a nice deep breath in and out on your side. And then bringing yourself back up into a seated posture, eyes closed. Use your arms or hands to press yourself up. Taking any seated posture that feels nice, either easy cross-legged seat or any other variation. And take a moment to feel your body here. Noticing any areas that feel different from before you started your practice. I hope you feel the benefits of your practice today. And bringing your hands in front of your heart in Anjali Mudra. And please take a moment here to remember your intention or dedication if you set one. And then we humble the brain and the mind to the heart as a gesture to respect the heart, to always listen into the heart. And then we finish the practice with a moment of gratitude. So thinking of someone or something, a circumstance, an animal, anything that comes to mind, something you're grateful for at this moment in time. Sending out your love and thankfulness. And I hope that the thought to whatever it is you're grateful for puts a smile into your face, and you can bring that smile into the rest of your day today. Blinking your eyes open, lifting up your head. Namaste.